well, everybody, welcome to the very first Sessions Podcast. This is a fixed coffee brand podcast where we want to highlight different creators, whether it's music or arts or architect or woodworking, whatever it is, people who are building, creating, moving, shaking, doing things. So we want to sit down, have a cup of coffee, enjoy some good conversation, and get to know other folks. And so on this inaugural episode, we have a friend of mine, DJ Will in the house, WILLIST in the house.
What's up?
And we have my co-host here, Anthony, who's also co-founder of Fixed Coffee. And so, all right, welcome to the show.
Thank you
first
so much.
Things first.
Thanks for having me on.
What's in your cup?
Oh, I'm rocking the Shadow Roast right now. So I'm a big latte and cappuccino guy. So I'm actually rocking the lavender cappuccino right now. It's something I have a little later in the night, but it's a little bit of lavender syrup, a good shot of the Fixed Shadow Roast, and then some froth milk, and it's a wonderful combination.
Excellent. Yeah, Shadow's a new favorite at this house too.
Oh yeah,
I think everywhere actually is becoming the thing.
I've definitely been sitting waiting like, oh man, I can't wait for an ultra dark so I can really like play around with the espresso flavor and stuff like that. So it's a good time.
Yeah, like I think Will was like the first person I told when we were like launch Shadow as the new ultra dark and then our decaf, Moondrop. I was like, you're gonna like this, I promise. Just be patient because we were waiting on new packaging to push everything out. So okay, so tell us a little bit about your coffee setup at home. Like, how do you do the home barista style stuff?
So I got it all, man. I got the presses. I got a nice little manual espresso machine. Nothing crazy fancy, just because like I've recently over the past couple of years just gone into it, and it's been a try and true machine. So like a single manual Delaney. That's what I'm rocking. So nothing crazy fancy, but I will say I do get a lot of coffee as gifts. So I have probably 9 different roasts in my cabinet right now. So it's crazy because everyone's like, oh, you're the coffee guy. You must really like coffee. And then they usually give me some like really terrible coffee. And so it just sits in my cabinet forever.
I hate when that happens.
But
it's the worst.
Yeah, so I have that. I have quite a few syrups. I'm a big enjoyer. If I'm like morning coffee, it's the Irish cream syrup for me. Okay. I'm a big mint guy. But in the afternoon, evening, it's usually either brown sugar or lavender. And yeah, that's just kind of my setup. I have an AeroPress. I have a French press. I got a pour over. I mean, depends on the style and feeling of the day. So.
Right. All the main tools.
Yes, everything you need to make a good cup of coffee. And some people are like, it's just coffee. And I'm like, you're wrong.
You're absolutely right.
It's not just a cup of coffee because... Let me tell you, finding a good roast for an espresso, a good pull, like it slaps. It's taken me a hot minute, but to say I'm not just this isn't paid advertisement. Like the Shadow Roast is just so good for that. So
awesome. We'll take it. All right, so now we know your coffee setup. We know what you're drinking.
Oh yeah.
I'm sipping on some. It's not Shadow, believe it or not. It's Midway medium, and I will be severely caffeinated today because this is like my 4th cup. So,
whatever works, man.
Yesterday was a holiday. Today is Monday, right? So that's what I'm sipping on. All right. So what I want to do is I want to go into kind of your creative process and then like just kind of go through. So everybody, again, DJ WILLIST puts out some dubstep albums, a lot of stuff on iTunes, Spotify, whatever, all the major platforms. Take me into your creative process, man. Like, how does a track start for you?
So track starts for me by like figuring out, okay, what's the theme in here? What's the vibe? So I started a couple of years ago. I've always been really into like EDM music. I remember like as a middle schooler, like listening to Bannerang by Skrillex on YouTube. Like that was just how I rolled growing up. I was still around the era where we made mixtapes and stuff like that, except it was on CDs. So like there would be I'd pretty much, LimeWire it all up on CDs and rock them in my 92 Ford Taurus. So I've always been
LimeWire, man.
Good times.
That's awesome.
But Yeah, so I've always been really into dubstep, and then it hit me, and I'm like, why should I just sit here and listen to dubstep? Like, understanding like certain audible sounds and stuff like that in dubstep, like I could literally listen to a dubstep song and like pull apart different parts of the song, so like the bass line and the chops and like the highs and the mids and everything there. And I started noticing myself doing that, so I'm like, hey, maybe I should start rocking some dubstep. And so I started with selling a long-time gaming PC, bought Logic Pro,
Yeah.
bought
Okay.
cheapo MacBook, and just started producing. And
Nice. What was the software you started with? Was it Fruity Loops or something?
so a long time ago, back in high school, I played around with Fruity Loops a little bit. But I've really the most experience I've had is definitely Logic Pro. I bounce between
Okay.
softwares now. Now that I've been doing it for a while, I'm certified in Ableton, so that's pretty fun. Got a
Right
nice
on.
little certification in there through, I think it was just an online course, but um,
Mm.
kind of bounce back and forth between the two of them. And yeah, so
All
I
right.
figure out what I'm trying to put out there, because I've always grown up being a little bit of an angry kid, and so like I figured out, what better way to let my anger out than in like, neck breaking, head banging bass drops. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? This is kind of my outlet. Like I started, when I create a track, when I create a song, I first am like, what am I feeling right now? Like
Okay.
what am I feeling right now? Am I feeling like, am I feeling happy? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling like lows, ups? Am I feeling like angry? What am I feeling? And I usually
Gotcha. Yeah.
I take that, and I'm like, okay, which one of these sounds that I can deconstruct can I really reflect my emotion on and put together to make into tracks.
Okay.
So
Cool.
that's
Right on.
go ahead.
So are you
No.
one of those guys that can like kind of see the music in your head of kind of what you want to put together?
Yeah,
Or do you kind of lay it all out and kind of draw the music, if you will?
it kind of depends. Like it depends on the, I guess, the state of life you're in, because in life you got ups and downs and stuff like that. And there are times where I'm like just making music and I'm like, how the heck am I gonna throw all these together? And usually it doesn't happen. Usually they come out as singles or short EPs of like little groups of songs I can put together. But sometimes you get you get a theme, you get an idea, you get a really cool idea in your head. You just roll with it, and you find
Yeah.
music that not only reflects your emotion but can reflect the theming of the album, of what you're trying to communicate and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So you have like a keyboard you hooked up to your computer,
yeah, I
or
use
you pull from different tunes you got like kind of a collection of.
so I didn't start with a MIDI, which is kind of wild. I learned how to use the keyboard quite a bit, like just a
Right on.
normal type on keyboard. I've used a MIDI though. I'm a big fan of the Launchpad Mini, so that's kind of been my go-to. But really, it's keyboards and just splicing and tuning. You can adjust
It's like
audio.
heavy edits.
Kinda, yeah. It's heavy edits, but it's not just heavy edits. It's like you could take like a sample, like a laser sound, and you can pitch it and stuff like that, so that it can put out a different note and stuff like that. So it's just a lot of that type of stuff.
Right
Sweet.
on. See now. Okay. So I've known you for a couple years now.
Yeah,
And when you first were like, yeah, I got some music, it's on iTunes. First of all, I was like, holy crap, that's awesome. And second of all, I think it was the Not of This World. With like, I think it was, I don't know if it was full album or EP. Forgive me
yeah,
for that. Um, but I remember putting it on, and it was just like the most unexpected. I think for me, it was the most. I was like, okay,
yeah,
I don't even, because I going in, I was like, okay, dude makes electronic music. Let me check it out. And then it just like mad freaking beat drops and like huge builds, and then when it gets to like the cut tempo dubstep stuff, it's like your mind is freaking out, and I love it.
yeah.
Oh,
So that album was actually a really special one for me. So that one, like, I'd been playing around and dabbling in like some of my older albums. I can admit aren't as clean and as nice as I want them to be, but I think that album specifically, like, that's when it started to shift, and I'm like, oh, this sounds great. oh, this works. Like it's like, oh, stuff
Yeah.
started to click and connect and stuff like that. And like I just went with it. I really got that's also when I was ironically taking the certification course for Ableton, even though all those songs on that album were made in Logic Pro. But I think taking the course and learning a little more about just how you can make certain things sound a certain way, um, even if it's on Ableton, like there are certain things you could take and apply to Logic Pro. And so I think that album was a really big one. That was also my first lossless quality album. If we want to get really nerdy here, like it was the first one that was truly like audio engineered and like really put together with a lot of effort on the engineering side rather than just the creativity side. So I probably spent a good 7-8 hours engineering just all that stuff. So,
man, did you find by putting that time in on the engineering side, did you find it to also be a creative outlet, or was it more of just like the process that just needed to be done?
The thing is I'm a very logical person. So like the creativity doesn't always flow super easily for me. But I felt like when I hit that, I was like, oh, this is a really cool way I could take the creativity of what I'm putting out there. Like I can really tap into the side of my brain that's like overly creative, and I could put this stuff out there. And then when I got into the engineering side, the audio engineering side, I was like, oh, this is all logic and numbers, and like I love this. So it was kind of it was a wonderful marriage of the both sides of my brain, and I was having a great time, and I think that's what allowed it to have the quality that it did, and honestly up the game a little bit since that album. So
right on. So is there go ahead, Anthony?
I was going to say, I've heard of like people experimenting with different frequencies, and different frequencies can affect the mind in certain ways. Do you kind of get into that technical science behind kind of different frequencies?
Oh yeah, so there are definitely some frequencies, and this comes a lot when it comes to like what is it called? EQing and stuff like that, where you can like look at the frequencies that are being put out and whatnot on a visual spectrum. So
Yeah.
You look at things that like you wanna look specifically. I mean, I can bring up an example, bass drops. When you hear a bass drop, you want it to like hit your chest. Like when the bass drops, you want to feel the bass drop. Like it's not just there's a lot that goes into the frequency of the first drop in a lot of my songs, because that's what people are like, whoa, like they take a step back and they're like, okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, exactly. Right when that chorus breakdown hits, that's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's when you crank it up.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
So, okay. So in your creative process, right?
Yep.
Which you said sort of doesn't always flow that easily. I mean, do you kind of have like, now that you're a few albums in, right, and you've done this a few times, you kind of learn your own kind of rhythms and whatnot. Do you have like what's the word for it? Like a ritual? You're like, okay, I'm going to go, I'm going to get my stuff set up. I'm going to brew some coffee. Then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to just like bang this out.
Yeah, that's
what
usually
I mean?
how it goes. I mean,
that's the process.
A big thing I should mention too is I'm not a morning coffee drinker. Like I can't do coffee in the morning. It just is like almost too much in the morning. But afternoon and evening, man, like I'm the early morning kid. Like I was always up early. I'm easy to wake up early, but let me tell you, like 2 or 3 o'clock hits and you're like, I need a kick. And then if I'm working on music after work and whatnot, it's like, okay, I need another kick. So it's like coffee,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
right on.
So
you find yourself, is your creative zone, I mean, obviously you're a morning person, but then when you get like geeked up on caffeine, it's obviously like more evening. Are you like more of an evening kind of like creative, if that makes sense?
So it's very much logical.
Start where the inspiration hits.
Yeah, it's very much logic brain in the morning, so that I can work and get through work and stuff like that. And then I give my brain
jobs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, great jobs. So much fun. But when the evening hits, like that's when I'm like, I need a little something to give me that creative flow. Like it I don't want to say it doesn't come naturally, because I think my brain's a lot more creative after work. I think it just sometimes needs a kick in the butt, and that's when I, brew my coffee and stuff like that. And then it's like, it'll hit, I'll be sitting there for a couple minutes just thinking, then it'll be like, this is what we're doing. And then I'll just go, you know?
Right on. Right on. Okay. So let me ask you this. I know you've done a lot of like, music producing, like behind the computer type stuff. Have you done live gigs at all?
I've not actually done any
like
live gigs. I'm working on learning the decks and stuff like that. I don't have a very, honestly, be total transparent. I don't have a very good deck right now. It was a hand-me-down from my buddy who owns a DJ business, and it works. It is, it's confusing as all heck to to actually run. It is like the least intuitive DJ deck ever. So I've actually like definitely played around with it a little bit and stuff like that. But like, there's just some weird oddities with it that I'm like, if I ever took this in live, like I'm so scared that it would just break on me or brick on me because the software is just so broken on this thing.
Nice.
Like the firmware is just, it's not. And like you get the electrical pop every 2 or 3 minutes of it. And it's like, and it could just reset if it does that. And I'm like, like it's just
keeps you on your toes. That's
not
for sure.
Good stuff. So any of my videos on my Instagram page where I'm like, I'm mixing, it's like, I am doing it using like, a DJ deck that came out during Windows XP. Like,
there you go. Yeah.
So
nice. Vintage gear.
Vintage gear. Now I have worked with other people who do like live performances, like rappers and stuff like that in some of my music and whatnot. But personally, I have never done anything live. I do plan to really get into it once I can upgrade my deck. But
fair enough.
Yeah. How do you feel about playing live, like as far as being shy or whatnot? I hear like a lot of creatives are like kind of like shy to get in front of a huge crowd. Are you that way, or are you like kind of looking forward to playing live?
Oh, I look forward to it. I hope someday I can really get out there and get live and stuff like that. Because the thing is when it comes to DJing and like being a live DJ, like you are the life of the party. And so it doesn't matter if you like make a couple mistakes here or there. If you're having a good time and if you're, really into it and like hyping up the crowd and stuff like that, that's what really matters. That's what makes a good DJ, because there are so many DJs that I've seen live and stuff like that. And I'm not calling any specific one out or anything like that, but like I've seen DJs where it's like they are doing some really good transitions and really good flips and doubles and stuff like that, but then like they aren't looking at the crowd at all. They're looking down at their DJ deck the whole time. And like that doesn't hype people up. You know what it does is it's like if you're tuning in but also like jumping with them and like getting all hype with them and stuff like that. And so I think that's a big crucial thing with DJing is being good in front of crowds. And I've gotten to give
audience connection
talks and stuff like that before. So I feel comfy in front of a crowd. Like
right on.
Yeah. So
you just can't be doing those things like this.
What is that?
Yeah. Have you seen those fake DJs too? That like they're behind the things, they're doing all this stuff, and then you get the camera angle goes behind, and they're just like hitting play on an MP3 player. They're not even doing anything.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some things you've got to learn how to do. Like that's
like you can't do that.
That's where there's this wonderful balance, because there's the over technical ones, and like they're great. Don't get me wrong, they are like masters at the craft. But then they're so over technical that they forget that DJing's fun. And then you have the ones. You have all the funny, clips from DJ fails where it's like, this guy's rocking this DJ set. If only his deck was plugged in, like.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I've seen so many of those on TikTok where like the DJ's going ham and the room's going ham. They don't have any idea. Then this dude takes his camera and he goes right behind, and he's like literally DJing nothing. He's pushing no buttons, no knobs, none of this. It's just like he's got his phone up there and hit play on the aux cord.
Yeah.
It's like. That's terrible.
Oh yeah, don't go to TikTok if you want like DJ advice. I'll throw that out there too. TikTok, it's like you'll have one DJ say, "This is why your transition should sound like this," and then you'll have someone else that be like, "This is why this is like the worst thing you could do." So,
speaking of, okay, there goes my next question. Have you had a mentor in this space, so like for music creation and that kind of thing? Is you get anybody that's mentored you, or is there an artist that you like kind of look to as a mentor, whether they know it or not?
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely take after. There's a couple artists I really listen to. I would say I don't have a direct mentor, because a lot of my friends really aren't into this type of music, which is kind of funny. So a lot of this was self-taught and like just
Okay.
pursuing my own passions and stuff like that. Like I'm very self-motivated, so like it'd be cool to have a mentor, and like there's definitely some cool people I've met along the way. Like I met this dude named Headbreaker, and like we'll talk every once in a while and stuff like that, and he just signed a record deal, so like
Very
he's
cool.
like up and coming and whatnot. So like that's a pretty cool opportunity to like get to talk and like learn more about that. Some of my favorite dubstep artists are a little more underground. Like I'm a huge Ray Volpe fan and Crank Dad and all those like more underground. They're starting to emerge a little more. Just the
Okay.
heavy headbanging type of music. I'm quite a big fan of. You know, like if my head doesn't hurt after a drop, like it's not heavy enough for me. So
It's not even who's putting out most of the good underground stuff? Is it like, are they US based or they European based? Is it like, all the best stuff's coming out from like,
dude, so
Spain's underground? You know
My
what I
my
mean?
favorite one, and I think like as much as I like Ray Volpe, I think Crank Dad's my all-time favorite because dude is straight up putting music out of Ohio. Like he lives in Ohio, and like if you want to talk about like the least party city on the face of the planet, like or least party state, I should say, like Ohio has cornfields and like some dirty cities. And so like for a DJ to come out, sorry if you live in
Sorry,
Ohio.
Ohio.
Sorry,
Didn't mean
Ohio.
anything by
Sorry if you live there. But sorry. But yeah, I mean the fact that he can like
I love it.
literally create this crazy music in such an odd state to create that music in and like be able to travel all across the US, and he's done a couple international shows and stuff like that. Like
Wow.
that takes talent. Like because a lot of these artists like just like appear and stuff like that. A lot of them live in,
Mm.
LA or New York and places like that. So it's
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
definitely a different environment, and I think I just respect that a lot because like when you're looking outside your window of your house and you see fields and cornfields and stuff like that, like the first thing that comes to mind is definitely not like headbanging dubstep. Like,
Right.
yeah. So when I think of dubstep stuff, I mean, typically it's like an urban city, like downtown,
exactly.
like, that kind of thing. You don't think of open cornfields and
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so that
hay
impresses me,
bales,
like
you know,
it's impressive. So
that's cool. Right on. Okay. So kind of leading in, right?
yep.
What's some advice that you would give a young producer who's like doing, grinding it out in their bedroom, like, trying to make it, trying to get albums out there that people enjoy
Yeah.
and will. Now, I would say would purchase, but like these days, like purchasing is so limited. It's more like,
Oh
would
yeah.
you add this to your streaming playlist?
Yeah. So I mean
So what's your advice?
my advice would be like just keep going. Like even when it's discouraging, even when it seems like, you might release something and it might be not that great. Like totally honest, like it just might not be good. But guess what? You could grow off of that. Like you could keep going and you can keep doing it. And one day it will just click and you'll be like, ah, this is how I'm gonna do this. And then it's just a fun process. And you're always learning. Like you're never gonna be perfect at it. You're never gonna be um the best, like it's you have to just continue
Yeah.
to grow and grow and grow and learn and learn and learn. And always be willing to learn and take feedback and constructive criticism and stuff like that. So
All right. So then what's something you wish you would have known when you were starting out?
oh man. Basic music theory. Like
Okay. That's
honestly,
solid. That's solid, actually.
I'm come from a background of like no instruments and nothing. So like I think having that in my childhood would have definitely helped um, help
Could have
negate
been.
some of the rough stuff in the beginning. But I think as I've grown and learned a lot more, and now I'm able to do a lot more with audio than I've ever been able to do in my entire life. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's just a cool opportunity, I guess, to just continue to learn and grow and stuff like that. But I think basic music theory is, if you're looking to get into this, like just watch like a YouTube video on basic music theory. Like it's like find an hour and a half long tutorial of basic music theory so you understand like what you're actually doing. So
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say too, like a lot of people don't, I mean, I've been involved in music my entire life, right? Been in bands, from punk bands and ska bands in high school to like jam bands and worship bands and all kinds of stuff, right? And like a lot of people don't associate actual musical knowledge with electronic music a lot of the time. Now, I know this is like, you know, music theory is required, understanding of instruments is required, and all this stuff, because a long time ago, I as well dabbled in electro music, because when I mean, coming out of late 90s punk rock scene, all this stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
I had not been into electronic music really ever. But then this was back in the day where you like went to the music store and you scanned a CD and put some headphones on, you can like preview the CD, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was like it was like Camelot music or whatever was in the mall at the time. And like, so I'd scan it, put it on, and I saw this one, it was a dope album cover, and I was like, I think this is 2001, so yeah, a bit ago. And it was DJ, like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing their names right or not, but it's Zihan and Kamin, and they are these two guys out of like Germany that they create essentially like electro kind of, I don't know, it's not really dance music, but I don't know what to call it. Like, they use samples of like jazz albums, and then they use like real instrumentation where they're like actually recording the raw audio versus sampling it. And they managed to push all this together and create this just vibe of an album, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw the cover and I scanned it and I started listening to it, and it caught me right away. And it has like, it's got like kind of, I don't know, like electronic dance backbeats, but then it's got like these jazz bass samples of upright bass and, you know, like jazzy vocals and stuff on top. And I was like, all right, this I can get into, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back in my day, and I don't know if it's changed at all because it's not my scene, but like EDM kids with the giant pants and the glow sticks and everything was not my scene, right?
Rave scene under the bridges.
Yeah, exactly.
The good old
It's not
days.
my scene. But like, so it was one of those things, like I was in high school, I'm not going to be caught dead with you guys, right? Like I'm going to stick with my little skater crew and we're good, you know? And, but after like listening to that album, then I went and bought it. And then I had it on. I still listen to it to this day. They're some of my favorite producers of that kind of genre. But I learned early on by listening to their stuff, like you actually, like this stuff's great when you do understand music, when you do understand instrumentation and how things work together, like then it becomes more art than just clicking.
No,
You know
well,
what
I mean, it's all
not that.
it's all sound design is what it is, because everyone, you know, you're going to get people that say like dubstep isn't really music. It sounds like someone just turned on a blender with a bunch of metal in it, you know, like that's what I've heard.
Some of it does.
Times. So like, and you know what? Yeah, you're right. Some of it does, but there are also some other ones that are like just so like unique in what they do. And I'll reference like, I think one of the original, like the first band that really like made electronic dance music really popular, and that would be Daft Punk. If you listen to some of the old Daft Punk songs, they were doing stuff that like nobody was doing yet. And the technology they had to work on a lot of this stuff is like, it's so limited to what we have now, but yet they were so focused on each one of those sounds and how it sounded and why it sounded that way. They definitely asked that question when they were either using them as samples or creating loops with them or whatever they were doing. But it was unique. It was different, you know, it was funky. It was, you know, like it was just, it was recognizing that you didn't even really need an instrument to take noises, to take samples, to take sounds and create something like that, you know?
Yeah. Like let's go back a little farther. Let's go to like some of the godfathers of electronic music. Kraftwerk, right?
Oh yeah.
Kraftwerk was, bro, they were working with like the equivalent of like 8-bit Commodore 64 type processor type stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like analog, like digital analog stuff where they had to like connect things like an old telephone switchboard to get the sounds they were looking for.
Yeah.
It's like to turn that into melodic music that's artistry, man.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
artistry.
I look at the example of like Fatboy Slim, you know, like he was kind of the OG DJ, you know, like he was a DJ before DJ was a thing. So
right on. Okay. Now we got a great kind of picture of DJ WILLIST. Do I botch that every time? Is it just WILLIST or do you do the DJ?
I just do
I don't
WILLIST.
know.
I mean, the thing
Okay.
is I haven't done enough live shows to be considered DJ WILLIST yet. So I'm WILLIST, and it's a EDM producer, you know. So,
Got it. Okay.
but it works. I mean,
Well,
either one
then
works.
That's just my fault. I think so. Like in our circle of everyone that I know that also knows you, we all just refer to you as DJ Will. So I think that's where it just keeps coming
that
up.
works
It's
too.
like,
I'm okay with nicknames. It
you know.
works. You know?
yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
Right.
So okay, we're gonna do a rapid fire round, coffee edition.
Ooh,
right?
okay. I'm ready.
So clear your brain. I'm gonna ask you questions. Rapid fire. First thing comes to your mind. Unless you mess up and it's actually like a terrible answer, like Starbucks or something, then
All right.
then we'll just cut, start again. But okay,
One take.
You
Let's
ready?
do this thing.
Let's do this rapid fire. Favorite coffee drink of all time?
Smoked salted caramel latte.
Ooh, solid
That
choice.
sounds good. Yeah.
Fixed coffee roast that matches your music style.
Shadow.
Dope. I think we
Dark.
covered this, but early bird or night owl producer?
Night owl.
Most overused sound in dubstep that you secretly love.
Wah. Those big wah, they're great.
Okay. Best song to drink coffee to.
Best song to drink coffee to. Anything
Of your song.
of my music. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Probably
Because I'm gonna highlight this track. So
yeah. Oh, let me come back to you on that one. I listen
Okay,
to a lot of
we'll
my
circle back,
music
circle
with coffee, so like I think all of it sounds great with
all
coffee.
of them. Should be like Dark Side of the Mind, whole album. That's it.
So which one?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's true. You have two dark sides. Okay. Which is why you love Shadow. So what's your go-to snack when you're deep in production?
Ooh, my go-to snack. This is gonna sound hilarious, but I love a good fruit snack. So
Yeah.
Okay. Like the little Welch's fruit snacks?
oh yeah, like I'll grab
Let's
3 or
go.
4
Those
packs.
are the best.
3 or 4 packs of
Hey,
those bad boys,
push.
and I'm just like, let's rock and roll. I
100%.
have a toddler appetite with adult money, so
So you have a lot of fruit snacks.
yeah. I don't want to say how many are in my cabinet right now, but it's a lot.
Hey, it's all right. It's all right. Okay, so this moment, I mean, we've been talking about what your experience as a producer, how you got into it, things you wish you would have known when you started, and then like how you do your creative process and that kind of thing. What are you working on right now that's got you excited?
Oh man. Oh, I'm so glad you asked this. So June 18th, I'm dropping the next volume of Dark Side of the Mind. And it's actually
Okay.
going to be my biggest album to this date. It's going to have 12 tracks on it, 1 remix and 1 VIP mix of one of my older songs.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a good time. That track, there is a lot of time put into that whole album, and
Yeah.
I'm just rolling with the Dark Side of the Mind ideology, because like that's just, I don't know, that's
you're
a
at.
project where I think is really fun to just like, it's a rager, like you're banging your
Okay.
head the entire time, but it's also there are certain tracks in all the Dark Side of the Mind albums that just hit you in the feels. So
Okay.
like I'm very
So this
excited
will be
for this
Dark
one.
Side of the Mind Part 3.
Volume 3, absolutely. So
Volume
and
3.
the
Okay.
the overarching theme of it is like eulogy, like and
Okay.
and if you look at the track list, it's kind of a storytelling of what the kind of idea and direction of the album is. So
Okay. Right on. And so where can people find your music?
So you can find my music on Apple Music, Spotify. I try and upload as much as I can to SoundCloud, but SoundCloud really pushes back a lot on me. So it's funny. It's like, these big, massive platforms like Apple and Spotify. It's like, oh yeah, you're uploaded, you're good to go. And it's like you get to SoundCloud and it's just,
They're like, prove it's you. You
Yeah.
can't upload it.
yeah, they're like, try me. And I'm like, okay. But you can find a couple SoundCloud exclusives on there too. Yeah. Just some
Okay.
unofficial remixes of a couple different songs and stuff like that. So
All right. Very cool.
yeah.
I mean, wrapping it up, dude, this was a blast. It's always cool to kind of peek behind the curtain.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
people like learn more about like their passion projects, what they're doing and how they're doing it, why they're doing it. Right.
Definitely.
So I've got one final question for you.
Gotcha.
If you could sit down for coffee with your younger self, what would you say to him?
It's a great question. I would tell my younger self, like, don't let people's opinions really affect you. Because once you get to a certain, I was bullied a lot in high school and middle school and stuff like that. I was just the weird kid, you know? But as an adult, being the weird kid is kind of what people like, you know? People like something a little different than the day-to-day. And so what I would tell my younger self is like, don't listen to the opinions because those are just opinions. That's all they are. So
yeah, right on. Solid.
rock and roll.
That's good. I mean, that's good advice anyway. Like, don't listen to somebody else's opinion. Like, rock out, be you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
be authentic, be real. Because guess what? People like real better than normal. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's unique, right?
Yeah.
It's like when everything is the same, when everybody's the same, when everybody, you know, I mean, listens to the same exact music all the time. You know what I mean? It's like when there's no variety, everything's boring.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know? And I feel like God created everybody a little different. There's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, you know? So might as well celebrate them.
100%. And like that's the other thing too, is like listen to God, you know, like listen to his opinion of you, you know, and just
There you go.
rock and roll with that because that's the only opinion that really matters. So
Yeah. No higher opinion to take into account, right? You know,
not at all.
for sure. All right. Cool. Well,
Awesome.
Thanks for being the first guest on Sessions Podcast from Fixed Coffee Brand.
I'm so honored. This was so much fun, y'all.
This is fantastic. I love this. So everybody, we're going to leave in the show notes and all that kind of stuff. I'll leave links to WILLIST music over on Apple and Spotify. And you just dropped a new single, right?
Yeah,
we didn't talk about this.
Yeah, so
actually, but you did just drop a new single. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
right?
real quickly, I'll give a real. I'll try and keep it brief. There's a lot of heart behind it though. So this song, my buddy does worship music, and we wrote this track back in 2019, and it was during one of the worst times of both of our lives. And like this is a brother that I've counted on and stuff like that. And this was before I was musically able, but I used to write like poetry and stuff like that. So some of the lyrics from this song are like from the heart and really just the struggle of I feel like I failed. Like I hate myself. Like I'm struggling with all this stuff. And because I was struggling with a lot of that stuff, I really projected it onto a lot of people. So it was pretty much an apology, you know, and and it's going to be on the new album as well. It's one of those singles that came out before the album came out.
Right.
But
first single from the new album.
Yeah, first single from the new album. But it's one of those songs that's like, it's a lot more chill than the rest of the songs on the album, but it's just, he released it. I asked if I could remix it because, you know, we kind of wrote it together back in the day. He's like, go for it. And he loved it. So it's a really cool song. It's a really heavy song, but I would highly recommend like listening to it. It's a good time. Good song. And like I said, it will be on the new album as well. So
very cool. Right on. All right. Well, you heard it here first. Go listen to I'm Sorry, the remix from WILLIST. And until next time, fix your coffee, fix your life. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I had to throw that in there somewhere.
Fix your coffee, fix your life. That's great. I love that.